This is what it's like cooking from scratch on a daily basis. If you're new here, I'm Bob, and this week I'm showing you how I use up all my leftovers from the week to make sure no food goes to waste, and hopefully turn them into something a little more delicious than they were before. It's a rainy day here, so let's start with something warm. I begin by turning some leftover dinner into stock cubes. I start with a few onions, and if you have any leeks or celery going soft, that's good too. By the end of the week, we always have some old veg in the bottom of the fridge, so I had to put a few carrots in there as well. The chicken carcasses are left over from Sunday lunch, and there's not much meat left on them, but that doesn't matter, because what we want is all the collagen out of the bones and the skin, and that's what makes our stock cubes hold their shape. While that is boiling, it's the end of the summer strawberries now, so these are all a bit soft and overripe, so the best way to save them is to make strawberry jam. I made blackcurrant jam last week, so I won't go into too much detail this time. Once the stock is boiled, I strain it twice, once through a colander and then through a cloth, and then I make it into stock cubes by putting it into an ice cube tray and leaving it in the fridge to set. Once it's set, you take them out of the ice cube tray and pop them into the freezer to use in future recipes. To demonstrate how gelatinous the stock goes, I put them into a jelly dish to set, and you can see just from the wobble how much natural gelatin is in there. While I was doing that, I forgot I put my jam outside on the table to cool, but a rain shower came in, so I had to run and grab it as fast as I could. But believe me, the last of the summer strawberries is definitely something worth protecting. Now onto something a little sweeter. I had some old beetroot and soggy courgettes to use up, so I put chocolate brownie on the menu. There is a desire in us to want to think of these as healthier brownies, to lessen this mysterious guilt we feel for eating anything that's not a vegetable. But I remind myself not to allow the joy to be taken away from these small things, but instead focus on a healthy life, one full of beautiful cooking, where the main priority is to share a meal with our families around the table, with it not mattering what we are eating, just as long as we make it ourselves. And who knows, maybe we had the opportunity to grow a few bits of it as well, and passing these skills and recipes down to our children and introducing them to where food comes from. I guarantee that'll be far richer and healthier for your life than focusing on whether or not to have an extra slice of chocolate brownie. Now onto using up old milk and cream. I have some that is close to going sour and I don't want to see it go to waste, so I'll use it up in dough for my potatoes. You just layer your potatoes with garlic, salt and pepper and add in your cream and milk mixture. If you want to see it in more detail, I have a video recipe on my page showing you how. By this point the brownie was out. It's not quite as rich and as intense as a regular brownie, but it's gooey, soft and you can eat a whole square without feeling sick. After that pit stop, it was back to rounding up all the remaining vegetables in the fridges that I didn't use in the stock and making a homemade pasta sauce. Some of the peppers are certainly quite soft, but all the better for roasting. While that roasts, it's time to deal with all the leftover bread. The classic and most delicious thing to do is make bread and butter pudding. I made custard from the egg yolks and the last pint of milk I had left, and then added lots of cinnamon and spices. It was the sort of thing our parents' generation made, but you see it less and less now. Once the veg were roasted, I simply placed them into a blender with some cream, sweet and smoked paprika, homemade pickled onions and salt. And there you go, a go-to homemade weeknight pasta sauce full of all that leftover goodness. So to finish a long rainy day of cooking, I treated myself to a warm scone to try that homemade strawberry jam. So that's another week in my kitchen. Follow along if you want to cook more from scratch meals in your own.